At a family leadership conference, my sister cackled. She'll always be a great team player, never a captain. I smiled through gritted teeth. 20 years later, I dismantled her companies, exposed her scandals, and triggered criminal investigations that destroyed her fortune. Her children were denied admission to private schools. Her grandchildren never even learned the family name. It was wiped from genealogical records after class action lawsuits buried their history permanently. This isn't a story about hurt feelings. This is about watching someone crush your pride for years, and then finally turning the tables. I grew up in Tacoma, Washington. Middle kid, 3 siblings. Our family was formal. That's the best word for it. Success mattered more than love. My parents treated our lives like resumes. If it didn't help your future, it didn't matter. My sister Diana was the oldest, 2 years ahead of me. She was loud, confident, and constantly praised. My mom used to call her a born leader. She got away with everything. The kind of kid who could lie to your face and make you apologize. Me. I was quiet, obsessed with puzzles, patterns, solving problems. I wasn't flashy. I didn't like the spotlight. I didn't need praise. But I did want to be respected. That never happened. Especially not with Diana around. Growing up, she took control of everything. If we played Monopoly, she was the banker and the rule maker. If we had a group project, she spoke for all of us. And if I did something impressive, she'd step in and translate it for others, stealing credit, minimizing it, or mocking it. By the time we were adults, our roles were locked in. Diana the leader, Marcy me the helper. When I was 26 and Diana was 28, my parents put together this insane idea, a family leadership conference. I swear to God, they rented out a hotel ballroom in downtown Seattle. Branded banners, itinerary packets, embroidered lanyards, the whole 9 yards. They even had breakout sessions with titles like Commanding from Within and Legacy Building Through Influence. I was scheduled to speak about collaboration in business. I just landed a job at a growing startup doing operations. It wasn't glamorous, but I loved it. I helped streamline systems and make teams more efficient. Not sexy, but it worked. Diana, of course, had her own marketing company by then. She wore heels so sharp they echoed like gunshots in the hallway. She had a small crowd around her at all times. Her slideshow was just her logo and buzzwords like brand synergy and emotional leverage. During my talk, I started explaining how building trust inside a team leads to real results. I was halfway through a sentence when Diana, sitting 2 chairs behind me, let out this fake, exaggerated cough. Everyone looked at her. She didn't apologize. I stumbled, but kept going. When I finished, she took the mic. Before even beginning her own segment, she said this: "Let's give Marcy a round of applause. She'll always be a great team player, never a captain." The room laughed. And I laughed too. But in my head something broke. That night I wrote in my journal, "One day she will regret saying that." The next 2 decades were all about patience. I didn't plot every day. I didn't seethe 24/7. But I never forgot. I never let it go. I worked. I learned. I watched. I moved to Portland. Got a job in data systems. I started small, doing back-end analytics. Slowly, I worked up to restructuring entire business infrastructures. I got good not because I wanted revenge, but because I liked being useful. Quietly useful. Meanwhile, Diana's company blew up. She renamed it Ardent Ascendancy. Vomit-worthy, right? They made fake influencers, boosted startup campaigns with rented Ferraris and Airbnb staged like mansions. She helped companies sell lies wrapped in Instagram filters. Her face was on billboards, podcasts, TEDx talks. I subscribed to every newsletter. I read every case study she put out. I didn't care about her clients, I cared about the gaps. I tracked inconsistencies, flagged things that didn't add up, quietly created a file, then another, then 20. Still I said nothing. Not yet. Then came the charter school contract. Diana's firm got hired by a multi-state charter network to handle marketing. Big contract. Public funds. She ran campaigns about education equity and transforming classrooms with story. It looked great, but her numbers didn't make sense. I looked deeper. The stats she posted didn't match state reports. The testimonials were too perfect. I dug into the metadata behind some of her video campaigns, found reused footage, stock actors labeled as real parents, fake school names in B-roll clips. So I followed the money. The charter group issued public grants. I got the spending breakdowns. Payments went to a consulting agency called Clear Vision Analytics. No team roster. No office. No LinkedIn presence. But the invoices? Nearly $2 million over 10 months. I found the LLC registry. Guess who the owner was? Not Diana. It was an employee of hers, one I remembered from a Christmas card. But he was also the VP of Ardent's media division. Total conflict of interest. And when I checked ownership transitions, the LLC was transferred to a holding company in Delaware, which Diana did control. That was enough. I didn't go to the media. I went to the Office of Inspector General. Quietly. I mailed a 200-page packet of evidence. No return address. Just facts. They bit. 14 months later, the first article hit the press. Marketing firm under scrutiny after charter school spending scandal. Diana was shocked. She posted a 3-minute video saying she was just as devastated as you. Then came the internal reviews. Then the federal audit. Then the ex-employees. One of them came forward with Slack screenshots. Diana had approved the fake metrics herself. Another shared voice memos of her instructing them to polish the narrative. Her exact words. Lawsuits hit next. Parents of kids in those schools filed class actions. The charter group filed a breach of contract suit. Her partners dropped her. The banks got involved. And then I went in for the kill. Diana didn't go down easy. After the first lawsuits, she tried to spin it. She blamed a toxic internal culture and said she'd been misled by aggressive junior executives. She even cried during a live panel on a business podcast, saying, "This is every leader's worst nightmare, betrayal from within." People believed her. For a little while. But that's the thing about Diana. She thought performance could fix anything. A good enough monologue, some tears, maybe a press release with words like rebuild, and transparent moving forward. She never understood that numbers don't cry. Paper trails don't lie. The investigators did their job. They followed the shell companies, found money trails leading offshore. Luxury expenses marked as educational media development. A trip to Italy that was supposed to be a strategic conference, but was really her anniversary getaway. Private jets billed to the marketing budget. And it wasn't just federal charges anymore. States started opening up their own investigations. California, Oregon, Arizona, each one had charter schools she'd worked with. Each one had misused funds connected to her company. But here's the part Diana didn't see coming. I wasn't just watching her collapse. I was helping it along. 2 years earlier, while she was still at the top, I'd done something she never knew. I bought into her world carefully, anonymously. I paid someone to create a startup, a fake influencer agency, Beamcore Media. Just a name, a website, some fake clients. Looked legit. We pitched it to Ardent as a niche brand partner. Diana bit. Signed a small exploratory deal. Nothing big, just $25,000 and a 6-month test campaign. That money funded everything. With insider access, I got a closer look at how Ardent moved money. How they created results before actual content. How they manipulated SEO reports and used bot farms to boost client engagement. I recorded all of it. And then, quietly, I fed it to journalists. Not all at once, bit by bit. Each piece verified, traceable. Just enough to build momentum. When Ardent collapsed, no one offered to help her rebuild. Then came her personal fallout. Her husband Brad filed for divorce. He cited reputational damage and financial endangerment. She begged him to stay. I know because a mutual cousin told me she showed up crying at his office and was escorted out. Her kids got pulled from school. A private Christian academy outside Seattle. Not expelled, just not invited back. Schools like that care about headlines. She tried to enroll them elsewhere. Every place either denied her or asked for full tuition up front in cash. She tried to sell her Kirkland home to pay legal fees. No buyers. Her name was toxic. Eventually the bank foreclosed. But it didn't stop there. The genealogy thing. See, Diana had spent the last decade obsessed with legacy. She hired a private historian to track our family back to Europe. Claimed we had noble roots in Austria. She built an online tree, paid for a public archive subscription, and even printed books for the family. Leather-bound. Gold embossed. I'm not kidding. She told everyone we were descended from leadership. Problem was, most of it was fake. I knew because I'd seen the documents she altered. When she published the tree, she fudged birth records, changed dates, merged branches from unrelated families to make the story sound better. It didn't matter to most people, but it mattered to the genealogy community, and especially the platforms that hosted family records. I submitted a correction report, not once, but 5 times. I included source documents, digital records, even archive contacts to prove she'd fabricated pieces of our lineage. After a 6-month internal audit, they removed her entire tree from public view, marked it as unverified, permanently restricted, due to manipulation. And that was it. The family name, the fake nobility, the backstory she'd built? Gone. Future generations won't see it. Her grandkids won't even find her branch when they search online. It's like it never existed. But Diana still didn't know it was me. Not yet. She started a podcast next. From rock bottom to rise again. A rebranding attempt. One of those victim-turned-coach stories. She had 4 episodes. The first one was about resilience in the face of betrayal. The second was learning who you can really trust. And that's when I did it. I sent her an email. From an anonymous address.
No threats. No insults.
Just a quote. She'll always be a great team player, never a captain. She never responded. But she stopped recording new episodes. And then something unexpected happened. She tried to come after me. I should have expected it. After the podcast died and the lawsuits kept rolling in, Diana got desperate. She went quiet online. No more posts.
No interviews.
Not even her usual fake deep quotes on Instagram. Just silence. That's when I got a letter. Not an email. A real printed letter. No return address, but I knew the handwriting instantly. My name, Marcy Whitaker, scrawled in that same loop style she used on birthday cards growing up. Inside, 2 lines. Some things are too cruel to be a coincidence. I hope it was worth it. I didn't respond. But it told me something. She knew. She might not have had proof, but she knew it was me. 2 weeks later, things started going sideways on my end. It began with a random audit request. An IRS notification arrived, nothing major, just a review of my last year's business filings. I wasn't worried. I run everything clean. My accountant even double-checked it and said, "This looks like someone tipped them off, but you're fine." Then came a call from one of my oldest clients, a logistics firm I worked with for 6 years. They'd received an anonymous tip claiming my company, Sable Systems, used unauthorized data mining tools. Completely false. But it was enough to trigger a pause in our contract. I did some digging. The tip was a fake report sloppily made, filled with buzzwords, and clearly intended to scare people who didn't understand tech. It used terms like aggressive back-end siphoning and dark web cache harvesting. Total nonsense. And then another. An anonymous complaint to the State Labor Board. Claimed my company fostered a hostile work environment for introverts. I kid you not. Introverts. I couldn't prove Diana sent them, but I knew. And she didn't stop there. Somehow she got to my younger brother, Mark. He called me out of the blue. "Hey, can I ask you something weird?" "Sure. Did you do something to Diana?" I paused. "What do you mean?" "She thinks someone sabotaged her. She said she's being hunted." "She said it's you." I didn't answer right away. I just asked, "Do you believe her?" There was a long pause. Then he said, "I don't know." That hurt more than I thought it would. We'd always been close, at least compared to the others. I never dragged him into anything. I never asked him to pick sides. But now Diana was getting in his head. He didn't call again after that. So I made a choice. I decided to finish it. Not just let her sink slowly. I was going to end the game completely. Shut the door forever. I started by going after her new LLC. A week earlier, I found out she'd tried to open a coaching consultancy under a new name. Torchpath Strategies. Website was under construction, but the domain was registered. She filed for business status in Nevada. Smart Nevada has stronger protections for LLC ownership, but not smart enough. I traced the hosting IP. It matched 3 previous domains she used for fake client testimonials. I sent a report to the Nevada Attorney General's Business Fraud Unit, along with evidence of her pattern of deception. Then I went after the financials. Using the same method I'd perfected before: public filings, tax records, cross-reference vendor accounts, I flagged her for suspected fraudulent income disclosures on the TorchPath EIN. It triggered a hold on her pending merchant account. She couldn't process client payments. I knew because a contact I trusted in banking compliance gave me the heads up, off the record. And while she scrambled behind the scenes trying to restart her life, I was preparing the final move. The one she'd never come back from. What she didn't know: there were more people like me. Former contractors, fired interns, quiet collaborators she stepped on, ghosted, or underpaid. I'd been talking to them. One of them, a guy named Eli who'd built the original brand strategy for Ardent, still had the login to the company's defunct internal media server. I got access. Inside were raw footage files, timestamped meetings, internal strategy calls, all backed up by accident. And in one of those files, clear as day, was Diana herself saying on a Zoom call, "If the client doesn't see results, we'll make results. We're in the story business. Who cares if the numbers are fake?" Time-stamped, unedited, undeniable. I smiled, because now I had everything I needed. And the final phase of my plan could begin. I had the video. That one clip of Diana on camera in her own voice saying the quiet part out loud. "We'll make results. We're in the story business. Who cares if the numbers are fake?" It wasn't just incriminating. It was the missing puzzle piece. Everything I'd collected over the years, the fake shell companies, the bot followers, the manipulated contracts, it all made sense once that video came into play. So I went to the press. But not just one reporter. I reached out to 3 major investigative journalists, each one with experience covering financial crimes and education scandals. I didn't go in guns blazing. I laid it out slowly. Sent them documents, links, timelines, the raw footage, all of it. I never gave my real name. I used a burner email. They did the rest. The first expose hit in the Oregon Journal front page. From influencer queen to educational fraud. How one woman's lies hurt thousands of families. The second hit 2 days later in Seattle Life. Fake stats, real damage. The rise and fall of Diana Whitaker's empire of illusion. Then came the podcast episode. One of those huge true crime shows. They dedicated a 3-part series to her. They called it The Brand That Lied. It hit 1 million downloads in a week. The video clip of her Zoom call? It went viral. People made memes, reels, reaction videos, even TikTok parodies with actresses mouthing her words in mock boardroom scenes. Her voice became a joke. And then the feds moved in. The IRS hit her with tax fraud charges, not just for Ardent, but for Clear Vision Analytics and TorchPath strategies. Wire fraud, false reporting, and misuse of public funds. The state of Washington filed their own suit for educational grant abuse. California joined in. So did Oregon. Her assets were frozen. All of them. Not just her personal accounts, but anything tied to her name, even a trust fund she'd opened in her kids' names. Her lawyer tried to claim it was a mistake. Didn't matter. She was indicted on 4 felony counts. Bail was denied. She spent 11 months in county before accepting a plea deal. No jail time, but only because she forfeited nearly everything. Her homes, accounts, stocks, trademarks, even the damn podcast. But that wasn't the worst part. Her kids changed their last names. All 3 of them. They'd been pulled from school, had their friends vanish, lost their home, their lifestyle. And when the lawsuits came knocking, they were named in the paperwork listed as beneficiaries of fraudulent assets. I never touched them directly. But I didn't have to. The world Diana built was a house of mirrors, and when it shattered, her kids were standing inside. They're adults now. 2 of them tried applying to private universities on the East Coast. Both were rejected. Not for grades, for reputational risk. They'll carry that stain for years. One of them, her youngest, moved to Montana and stopped speaking to her entirely. He deleted all his social media. Started using his stepfather's last name. His new online bios just say, "Not related. Diana." She lives in a one-bedroom rental now, off the main highway in Renton. No car. No job. I know because someone snapped a photo of her working the register at a small local garden supply store. Her face was puffy, eyes red, hair undone. I saved the picture. I didn't share it. I just keep it. But here's the part no one sees coming. I paid a price too. Not legal, not financial. I was careful. I never crossed those lines. But revenge changes you. I lost my younger brother. Mark stopped calling. When I finally reached out, he texted back, "You turned into her, Marcy. Just quieter about it." That cut deeper than anything Diana ever said. And he wasn't entirely wrong. There were moments, late nights, staring at files, watching her interviews on repeat where I didn't recognize myself anymore. I'd become obsessed with ruining her, and it worked. But in the process, I missed out on other things. I never married. Never had kids. Never traveled like I always wanted. I kept putting everything off, telling myself, once this is done, I'll live. But by the time it was done, I didn't really know what to do with the quiet. Revenge gives you a reason to keep moving. When it's over, you're just standing still. It's been 3 years since the final article came out. Diana still hasn't contacted me. I doubt she ever will. Sometimes I drive past the old neighborhood where we grew up. The houses look smaller. The streets quieter. Our childhood home was sold after our parents died. The new owners planted a garden where our basketball hoop used to be. I parked out front last month and sat there for a few minutes. And I thought about that day, that conference 20 years ago. Her voice echoing through the mic, that smug laugh. She'll always be a great team player, never a captain. She was wrong. I wasn't a team player. I was the architect. I just built things slower. But once I started, I didn't stop. And now there's nothing left of her world, not the money, not the brand, not even the name. She erased me once with a joke. I erased her forever with the truth.